In a surprise to absolutely no one, New Zealand smashed Namibia. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. It was just relentless from New Zealand at the start of this one. Just kept coming at Namibia, making ground, finding holes. Then Binga Anuku, he takes a crossfield kick, rides a tackle from Swanepoel, and then puts Rygaard over to score. There's only a couple of minutes on the clock at this stage. Mackenzie converts this one, and it's 7-0 to the All Blacks. Namibia then win a penalty in the 22. They decide that they're going to go to the corner, go to the maul. They get halted, and then they knock on as they try to spread it in field in front of the post. New Zealand counter through Barrett. He kicks through, and then Mackenzie, he wins a race to the ball, but can't grounds and knocks on just before the line. New Zealand then absolutely destroy Namibia at the 5-metre scrum. Ball pops out, and Rygaard goes over for his second. Mackenzie misses the conversion for this one. It's 12-0. Whitelock then gets pinged for playing the man in the lineout. Swanepoel uses every second on the shot clock, but splits the post with his penalty. It's 12-3. Namibia on the board. Then Uanivi does really well to disrupt what was a decent New Zealand maul, but he gets in there, disrupts it all on his own, but then after such great work gets pinged for playing the ball on the ground. New Zealand go to the corner. There's some toing and froing. They end up going to the corner for a second time, and this time they manage to maul it over. Takiahu, he breaks off the score, but then we have a TMO check. Tuinga Fassi and Whitelock were in front of the ball carrier. It's a penalty that most Ireland fans will be very familiar with because we just give it away so often. It's obstruction, and basically like the lifters go between the defence, the maul defence, and the ball carrier, basically screening him, which you're not allowed to do. So as I said, Ireland do it all the time. We get pinged for it bloody every time too. It's so frustrating. But New Zealand get pinged for it this time, and Namibia are able to clear. We then have a break and play because it's a really serious injury to Milan. I don't know whether it was a broken leg or it was something really bad. He went down, clutching his leg, and he's waving for some kind of assistance to come over, and you can see players are kind of walking away from the scene as well, not wanting to look. It's never nice to see a player get injured like that. We have a lengthy stoppage, and he goes off the field on a cart. At least he gives a thumbs up on his way off. But yeah, really not nice to see that. But injuries happen in rugby, but you just you wish that things like that wouldn't happen. But I guess it's part of the game, but just not good for him. When we do restart New Zealand, they work it up to the Namibian line. Namibia are offside. New Zealand decide to go quickly from the penalty. Mackenzie steps and goes over to score. He converts his own try at 19-3. New Zealand then have a line at around about 10 metres out. They set up a dummy maul, and then they hit Ringa Nuku. He comes on a hard line, and he goes over, and just 3 or 4 guys hanging off him. It's kind of reminiscent, not quite to the level of Lomu against France all those years ago, but kind of reminiscent of it, at least. Like his power, just with those guys clinging to him, he's still able to go over the ball. He's juggling with it as they're pulling on his arms, but he managed to hold on to it and get down and ground. So really good from him to get that score. Mackenzie then hits the upright with conversion, and we're at 24-3. At this point then, we have really heavy shower. The rain is lashing down, but New Zealand's skills are kind of holding up in the conditions. And that's one thing, with New Zealand, it rains a lot down there. Sometimes we Northern Hemisphere um, fans think that, oh, well, if the Southern Hemisphere teams have to deal with rain, then they're not going to be able to cope with it. But New Zealand, it rains not maybe as much as it does here in Ireland, but it still rains a lot, and when it rains heavily too. So their skills are honed to that kind of thing as well. So they were fine with that. But then from here, then Namibia getting absolutely pummeled in the scrum all night long. So what happens? Swanepoel, he kicks a drop out on the full, and not what the doctor ordered. A defensive 5 meter scrum, right in front of their own posts. But New Zealand are a little eager to get in there and do a bit more pummeling. So Namibia win a free kick and a stay of execution for now. From here, then Gausep, he puts in just a big hit on Laolala and forces a knock on. Not much really for Namibia to celebrate in this game, but that really was a peach of a hit from him. Then Namibia to try a trick move from a line out roundabout like the New Zealand 22, but it goes badly wrong. New Zealand counter, Barrett breaks down the wing, and then he kicks in behind, but the ball basically beats everyone and goes over the line. From here, then New Zealand come back attacking again. They get to the edge. Leonard Brown, he puts in a clever little grubber kick. He's first there. The covering players from Namibia, as they're scrambling to try and get there, they seem to kind of run into each other. He pokes the ball on again, and it's he gets there then just to fall on the ball. There's nobody really putting much of a chase in on him. He just falls on the ball to score. Mackenzie converts this on 31-3. From here, then Swanepoel kicks a restart dead, and you can see he's trying to make something happen for his team, but he's just nothing is really going right for him for the most part, and he's trying just a little bit too much, and he's basically costing his team at times. From here, then New Zealand have a scrum. Rygaard breaks from that scrum into 22. He has Mackenzie coming kind of on a loop around them as support. He gives the ball off to him, and he goes over to score. Mackenzie then converts his own try, and we're 38-3, and that was our halftime score. Into the second half, then Namibia, again, they try a trick line out in the All Blacks 22. This time, they've got Swanepoel at the front. They throw the ball to him, but it's not straight. I don't think it went 5 either, and it just didn't work. And it feels like they just needed to just try some basic stuff. Throw the line out, catch it, and then if you want to move it from there, fine. But all this trick stuff that they were trying to do at times was just complicating things when they were struggling with the basics. And it was a rare visit to 22 for them as well. New Zealand, they win a penalty then at the scrum, and the chance is just gone. Aiden de Groot then, he comes on, and his first touch is basically to score a try. New Zealand, they had a powerful maul. They then break off that, spread it out to him. He's out on the wing, and he just had too much power for the winger to try to tackle him. He goes over the line to score. Mackenzie misses the conversion. We're then at 43-3. From here, then New Zealand make a break out wide. In the build up to that break, there was a barnstorming run from Sabea. Then out wide, Barrett, he breaks, gets the ball onto Finganuku. He makes a strong carry. Then a sweep pass then from Barrett puts Papali'i through a gap and under the post to score. Mackenzie converts for 50 points to 3. We then have a nice step from Rygaard that allows him then to pop the ball off to Havili, who goes over to score. Again, Mackenzie converts and makes it 57-3. Maybe then come forward from the penalty, set up the maul, but basically going nowhere. They win another penalty and they decide to go back into the corner. It looked like with the maul then, looked like they got stopped, but then they surge again. But as it looks like maybe they're actually going to surge over now and score, they kind of collapse a bit and then spill the ball forward. It's just like handling was terrible from them, especially in at crucial times like that. But they do then win another penalty for offside in New Zealand 22. They tap it and go quickly. They get isolated. New Zealand get over the ball and they win the penalty. And then just another rare chance for Namibia gone. New Zealand, then they go up the other end. They kick it in behind. And it's a lovely kick from Mwanga. Caleb Clark wins the foot race there and then holds off a potential tackle and goes over to score. Mackenzie converts this one from out wide, probably his best kick from the tee of the night, I would say, at 64-3. Namibia then, they tried to hold on to the ball for a bit, but New Zealand are aggressive at the breakdown and they turn it over. But then we have a TMO review. De Groot, basically, he went in with a tackle. There's a Namibian player being tackled. He comes in as the second tackler, I guess, from the front, and basically hits him in the head with his shoulder. There's no attempt to wrap it all on that, and it's a yellow. It goes to the bunker for a review. I'm thinking a red, but then I'm thinking of, well, what happened last night? It was Chelsea Fanua, right? And then I'm thinking, well, maybe it's not going to be a red, but it looks like a red to me at least. From here, then, whatever happens with that card, there's less than 10 minutes, so New Zealand are going to finish the game with 14. Namibia, again, go looking for a try that basically the majority of the crowd and every neutral watching just is, willing them to score. They have a 5-meter scrum in the shadow of the posts. They, scramble the ball out of the back of the scrum, but then Stevens knocks on, and New Zealand, they're great at turning defense into attack. They break, they get the ball out to the edge. Finganuku shows some great strength to break further up the line. He rides a tackle, offloads to Rico Ioane, and then he runs into score. Mackenzie converts this one for 71-3. Then we hear that the Groot's yellow has been upgraded to a red because there was no mitigation. He's going to be a big miss for them, but I'd imagine that it's probably going to end up being something like 4 games reduced to 3 because of tackle school, or 3 games reduced to 2, something like that. So he's probably going to miss the rest of the pool games, but then be back for a quarterfinal. So, there's no good time to get a red card, but maybe, if there was a less bad time to get a red card, maybe now is it, given, the quality in New Zealand's pool, although Italy still, could shock us all and maybe even shock themselves and beat one of these 2 big teams in the pool. But from here, then, Namibia, they finish the game in sight of the All Blacks post, but yet again, knock it on. New Zealand then get the ball off the field. 71-3 is our final score. 11 tries to the All Blacks. Job done for New Zealand. They're so ruthless in games like these. They just have that ability that very few other test nations, even really top quality test nations, have, in being able to make plenty of changes to the team, but then getting out there, getting the scores, and then just being so ruthless, keeping the foot on the throat throughout the entire game, and not kind of switching off and thinking of what's to come in the future. They're just about getting as many points as they can on the board, and they did that here. I thought both wingers, Caleb Clark and Finganuku, looked really good. Finganuku stood out more of the two. It was great as well that they got 50-odd minutes into Retalic's legs, and Rygaard was excellent at 9 as well. I thought Mackenzie had a decent game at 10. I said before the game, I think he's the perfect 10 for this type of game, because you know you're going to get plenty of chances to run the ball, and you know you're going to be scoring plenty of tries. And he's the guy that is going to be putting, keeping that back line moving and finding that space. And he did that tonight. His kicking was kind of, I'd say, for his standard that we've seen from him, like it was maybe slightly above his average, but he still misses a few too many kicks really to be, I think a first choice 10, unless you're going to have maybe Barrett or somebody else stepping up to kick from the tee. But still, it's, people say, oh, it's only Namibia, etc., but it's still, you still got to go out there, you still got to beat them, and New Zealand did that. Namibia, from their part, they had no set piece at all in the game. Scrum just got destroyed. Their line out, they were just doing too many trick plays and this, that, and the other, and not just focusing on getting the ball to the jumper and then working it from there. So without any platform, basically turned what was a hugely difficult task for them to put any real pressure on the All Blacks to virtually impossible. Instead, no one expected them to get anywhere near this All Blacks team, but we would have loved to have seen them get a try tonight, and we'd love to see them as well getting more support from World Rugby and the rugby world in between Rugby World Cups, so that they can be more competitive in the future.